All right, welcome back to the Morning Smoke. This is your host, Mella Miller, with my co-host, _Truth 1987. Co-host, we're always on social media. We're looking at different things. We want to make sure we're following things that trend or in the culture. One of the interesting conversations I had seen come up, it was a young lady. She was sitting there talking about how, we'll play the clip, but she was sitting there talking about how she doesn't want to be called an independent, strong black woman. And there's certain things that go along with that, and she explained why. And I thought it was a very interesting conversation. But without, go ahead and play that for us, and then we'll talk about it.
Cool.
Please do not address me as a strong, independent black woman. It's not a compliment. I never hear a man that is raising children alone say, I'm mom and dad. He never becomes overly feminine because he's raising children. But we as women become overly masculine because we are raising children, because I'm mom and dad and I gotta do all these things, right? And now I put extra stuff on me and then I say, ain't nobody helping me. Well, nobody told you to do that. There is help available, all because I was trying to overcompensate for what daddy wasn't doing. I didn't have to be mom and dad. Now they got Mr. Chris and Mr. Eric over here. And I took them to be a part of different organizations because when you think of something strong, you do not think of coming to the aid of it. So when we are looked at and walk around as strong, what we're putting out is, I do not need assistance. I don't need your help. So anytime a man says, oh, I love it, you're so strong. I said, no, I'm not strong. I'm resilient. I'm not independent. I'm interdependent. Because nobody ever comes to the aid of the strong person. So when I'm around men, my wrists are broke.
Yeah, I like that. I like that.
What are your initial? I'll start with you, boss. What are your initial thoughts when you hear that?
I totally agree with her. Honestly, I'm not going to sit up here and sugarcoat it. I agree. You know how I feel when it comes to men and women, especially when it comes to the Bible and biblical side. We were all created for certain roles. This is what I believe to my heart, because I believe, in the Creator. I believe in God, things of that nature. We were all created for our certain roles. Men are supposed to do a certain thing as men. Women are supposed to do a certain thing as women. And some of those things are not going to cross. They're not going to cross. They're not going to, women are not going to be able to do some things that men are able to do, just as well as men are not going to be able to do some things that women should do. And what I like about this, she knows what her role is. And that's not to say anything wrong or out the way or, disrespectful, because she looks like a successful black woman. She looks like she, does whatever that she does and things of that nature. So not to say that women can't be successful in what they do, but she understands that she still needs help. She still needs a man or a covering, whatever it may be, in her life. So I like her take on it. Definitely, interdependent is exactly 110% of what I would say a woman should be. Honestly. So I'm old school though. I'm young, but I'm old school.
No, I understand that. Really, this conversation is just a sample. Understand that?
Yeah.
Because this is part one. Next week, we're gonna have.
That's fine. I know
our special guest on, and this will be a part two, so we can give her perspective on this conversation.
Yep.
For me, I think it's pretty deep.
Absolutely.
I was raised by my father. Not many people have the story that I do, where I didn't have, a mother in my life. So my father never once, and I mean not one time, ever said I'm the mother and the father. My father raised me as dad.
Yeah.
He didn't sugarcoat that. There are pros and cons to not being nurtured as much. You get the final product that you get right here. But I tell you what, for me, I'm pretty in tuned. He taught me how to not hide from emotion. There's a misconception about masculinity and femininity.
Right.
My dad never taught me to hide from my emotions. He told me to control my emotions.
Right.
He didn't tell me to suppress them. Some men, I'm a man and we don't cry. No, he didn't say that.
Right.
I think that men tend to just want you need to control yourself. Right. Be under control. Be responsible for your actions. These are life lessons that I teach on this show all the time. Accountability. Right.
Mm-hmm.
There's reasons for things. but not excuses. Right? We talked about that with the Mike Tyson situation, right?
Yeah.
And so when I'm raised by my dad and he, came from that masculine centered place, I didn't really feel like I missed out on anything. But I see a lot of women, because usually the opposite, especially me coming up, was around me. The father wasn't present and there was a single mother home. And I heard it all the time. I'm both the mother and the father. This isn't an old school concept. If you actually pay attention to social media every year around Father's Day, we've talked about it on this show. These women will be on here talking about, no, I happy Father's Day to myself. Because I'm doing this, they can't even control themselves on one day. That ain't meant for you. You got Mother's Day. Let that be for you, right? So, I don't know, co-host. It's just one of those things where it really boggles my mind. Now, she said a few things that I think were really important. She said how men don't tend to become overly feminine. That's also very true. Women, though, tend to become overly masculine. I think there's something there that's overcompensating, right? They're trying. You see those. I don't need no man, and this whole mentality, this attitude, right? A lot of things. I'm not the biblical narrative. You come from that track. I'm not, but many things can overlap, and just for different reasons, we could be aligned in some ways. And so I see something out of whack there when it comes to women and the roles in which they're playing nowadays. Now, I don't feel that there's just two boxes. That's where we disagree. I think there's a litany in between, and I'm into the pronoun, days and this craze today, and I'm respectful of people because it don't bother me, right? But when you get people that try to take on these roles, you wonder why. Then it's just like, why are you complaining? She said something. She said, "You the one that wanted to take on both roles. Why you need help? How about you do your role?" And there's plenty of resources out there. Believe it or not, these inner cities are not what you see on Fox News. There's tons of assistance, whether it's here in Indianapolis, we have a 10-point program with the ministers. There's all kind of different things out there. I was a mentor for many years. Through the Boys and Girls Club. I'm just saying there's a lot of different things out here in which people will be mentors, or I know tons of young men who go through the Dad's Club, who goes through various football programs or basketball programs where these men donate their time. And I've been a coach for a long time, 14 years. And when I tell you, co-hosts, many of the kids, I was a male role model for them. It's out here. Women, you have to be open to allowing it to be the case. What I see, though, is these moms, though, no, forget what he talking about. I'm going to tell you how to be a man.
That's just impossible.
I'll teach you how to be a man.
It's impossible.
But this is that conversation that goes on. These women have these unrealistic notions in their brain. You wonder why so many men are coming out screwed up.
Right.
You're teaching these boys to be an unrealistic type of man.
Right.
Because you don't know. You're looking at it from the female perspective. But anyway, co-host, what else you got on that? Because I just think that she hit that spot on, bro.
No, I'm with you, man. And definitely to nail that point home of women who feel like they can take on that father role. There's no way possible that you can understand what the role of a father is, because you're not a father. I mean, you've never had to understand that role from the source. It's just like if you go to, you can go to a computer store and buy a computer, and you can know all the ins and outs of it. You can know the specs. You can know this, that, and the other because you see it, right? You see it. You've read it. Because you're the outside looking in person. but you can never know what it really took to make this particular computer or how this computer really ticks, because you're not the source. And it's just like that here in these homes. You never will understand what the role of a man is when it comes to raising not even only a child, but just being a husband, being a boyfriend, being just being a man as a whole. You will never understand that. Just like we will never understand what it takes to be a mother. I commend all the mothers that are out there, because they do some things that I'm like, what in the world? Like I can't fathom some of the things that mothers do for their kids or for their family, or how they operate or how they think on certain things. I will never understand that. I'm gonna be honest. I'm a man. I'm simple. So I'm gonna have a lot of logic when it comes to certain things, because it's, I can compute it in my head. That's what a man is. Most of us are logical. We don't really try to. Some of us think somewhat out the box, but not too far away, because we're sort of I don't want to say black and white, but most of us are like, hey, either it's X plus this equal this, So at least I'm that way. I can't speak for all men, but at least I'm that way. But women, they have a different type of thinking when it comes to certain things, and that's just nothing I will ever be able to understand. So I agree. I agree with her 100%. I think that she is right on the money, and I hope that there are some women that are listening to her. I really hope there's some women listening to her.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to hearing Miss Thea B's take on this. But also, I'm curious on her thoughts on, and Miss Thea, I'm giving you a whole week's notice.
Wow.
You'll be able to prep and prepare, right? I'm also interested to hear on, I think that there's been a radical shift where women have become empowered. Not saying it's wrong, but one of the byproducts is women are now telling men how to be husbands.
Yeah.
Women are telling men how to be fathers. Women are telling men how to do X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
And very rarely do women accept men telling them how to be wives, telling them how to be mothers, telling them how to be blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Somewhere there's a double standard there.
Absolutely.
And I think women have gotten really comfortable in being able to dish certain behavior out but not receive it.
Mm-hmm.
This has been exposed by whether you like him, hate him, love him, whatever. R.I.P. Kevin Samuels. I'm not making it about him this moment, but his message that got popularized because of his extreme conversations. Women just didn't like that power being taken from them, where it's been that shift, where the women were the ones pursued, where the women's were the one that were the valued, and men were the dime a dozen.
I think I would say this real quick to go along with that. Why do you want the power? I think I would be more. I want to ask that question to a woman that thinks that way. Why do you want the power of a man? Why? You have your own power as a woman, and what you do as a mother, and all this other different things of that nature as a woman. Why do you want the man's power? Why?
Here's the delusional part, co-host. You will see women say, "I don't want the power," but yet they exude it.
Exactly.
I'm not trying to be masculine, but yet we identify masculine behavior.
Actions speak louder than
Kevin
words.
Samuels would call that out. You're being argumentative. You're being this. You're being that.
Mm-hmm.
This is all masculine energy, and yet you say you don't want that. You're not trying to occupy that space, but your actions are speaking louder than your words. We got to get out of here, Coles. Part 2 next week. See ya. You got a week.
Yeah.
Better come strong.
Yeah. You got two men here. Never mind. Let's move.
Nah.
What?
Come on, man. Take us home, man.
Well, thank you so much out there. And I want to open it up. If you women out there listening to us today and you feel like you got something you need to say, comment. subscribe to us and comment and like the page, share it. We don't mind having the conversation. My co-host puts me in a whole bunch of conversations throughout the week. I don't know why he does, but he knows I'm gonna get into it and talk about my opinion. You know, I'm gonna give my 2 cents. So definitely hit us up. We would love to have a conversation with you. And hey, if we need to have you on the show, we can do that too. We'll make that happen. We'll make it work.
Look,
so
comment on the videos, tag my co-host, tell him why he's wrong, all that good stuff, man.
Wow. And I'm gonna just forward it right over to my co-host because he's built for that. But anyway, thank you so much for listening to us today. We definitely appreciate it. Tune in next week. As my co-host says, we'll have a great show lined up for you. We'll be back here on Monday from 10 to 11 a.m. We'll also have some videos on our main page on Facebook, YouTube, and TikTok. So definitely go check that out. Also check us out on Spotify and Anchor.fm as well too. But until next time, we will see you Saturday. So peace.
Peace.